unfortunately, gender bent Rosalie is one of the most disappointing parts of Life and Death. And as you guys know, I actually do like this book now, but boy, Rosalie is a disappointment in many ways. Keep in mind that the whole purpose of this book allegedly was to prove that Twilight wasn't misogynistic and that everything would be exactly the same if the genders were reversed, and that is just like not even close to the truth. So gender bent Rosalie's name is Royal, which I really don't like. It's just like very close to Royce, and I feel like we could have picked a different name. Silver lining though is how Beau describes Royal, which we will get to, but his backstory is probably the most different out of all the Cullens, and like of course it is. Rosalie's backstory is obviously she was the really beautiful daughter of like pretty wealthy parents, and she was engaged to Royce King, who was like the most eligible bachelor, super wealthy, and him and his friends ended up brutally beating and essaying her, and that's when Carlisle found her and turned her, and later she found Emmett. Royal was like a hot guy who was like really ambitious and into money and material things, and he was engaged to the daughter of this really wealthy man. Turns out he was like, I don't know, like a mob boss or something, and the daughter, so Royal's fiance, like watched and laughed as some member of a rival crime syndicate beat Royal to death. And mind you, we only get like one paragraph about this because the only way we hear about this is the Cullens trauma dump their backstories onto poor Beau while he's transitioning. And I just feel like this is so like not the point, and really just like undermines the point of a Rosalie character, especially because like, why does Royal's whole thing have to be about ambition? It does say that Royal was least careful with his words, and he told me about losing his family and how none of this was worth what he'd lost. But like, why couldn't Royal have really wanted to be a father? Like how Rosalie really wanted to be a mother? Like, because again, I do like this book, but the whole point was supposed to be that like it would be the same if the genders were swapped, and there are literally so many changes made to accommodate gender norms. But one thing I do appreciate is that Stephanie did keep these gushing descriptions of Royal's beauty from Beau's POV. Like, boy, Rosalie has a man bun and Beau is so into it. He talks about this a lot, by the way, and how Royal is like such a male model, but you know how when Edward is describing Siobhan and he's like struggling to just say that he thinks she's sexy and has a crush, and he's like, she was aggressively, forcefully female. That is like what Beau does with Royal. This is just his first description of Royal. The taller one, who was definitely taller than me, I'd guess 6'5" or more, was clearly the school's star athlete and the prom king, and the guy who always had dibs on whatever equipment he wanted in the weight room. His straight gold hair was wound into a bun on the back of his head, but there was nothing feminine about it. Somehow it made him look even more like a man. He was clearly too cool for this school, or any other I could imagine. And then he's like, yeah, I mean, I think Edith is the most beautiful out of the Cullens, but I mean, the girls in the school would probably say that it was